Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to a new Breakout Solutions live stream. I'm your host, Matt Batiri, here today with you again for another Bitcoin technical analysis video. So we're coming close to wrapping up the end of the year, which means we are a couple of days closer to the Bitcoin halving, which is supposed to be in April next year. And with what I'm going to show you today, if you stick to the end of the video, is exactly why you should be buying each and every single dip between now and the end of next year. We have just obviously confirmed this year that we have removed ourselves from the bear market and we have started the bull market for the crypto market. Over the last couple of months, you've probably seen your altcoins do amazing returns and started to launch themselves into the stratosphere. Some that we can mention is Bonk, Solana. We've seen Helium have a huge run in the last couple of weeks. And some of these tokens have already outperformed Bitcoin's returns this year. So without further ado, let's dive into the chart. So we've obviously started a brand new week. And so far, it's looking quite bearish. A lot of my indicators do say, or are telling me that if we are going to head higher and possibly hit that $47,000 to $50,000 zone, it needs to be done this week. Okay, so we can see that we have quite a few divergences occurring across the board. We have not yet printed a divergence on the RSI, but if we do get that next leg up, that will be a weekly bearish divergence, which we tend to get during a bull market. The last one was back here. This was the most prominent one where we had a bear div here on the weekly on the 15th of Feb, and then we had that huge pullback. But if we decide not to have a bearish divergence on the weekly, if we go quickly into the daily, we can see that we've already created three drives of bearish divergence. So this is looking like Bitcoin is in a bit of a predicament, and I'm going to dive into this charts a little bit closer so you guys can understand what is going on. So whilst Bitcoin has started to trend down a little bit here, we do have the stochastic RSI at the oversold territory for the daily time frame, which means we should get a little bit of a spike up. Now, it might not be a big move to the upside, but we are awaiting quite a big move because we've had a bit of consolidation here for the last couple of weeks, and Bitcoin is looking to either break to the upside or break to the downside. Now, my spidey senses say that we will probably get a push to the upside, but maybe not as high as what people think. We may just break the previous high of 44,800, get that rejection because people will then think that we are going to that magical, 50 or 48 to $50,000 level. Get that rejection from here and then bring it all the way back down, hopefully to my best buy the dip level, which is right here around that $31,800 level. Now, if we do get this drop, this will be probably the best buy the dip opportunity before we do come into the 2024 bull market. And I'm going to show you exactly why I'll be buying any major dips moving forward that are over 10%. So right now, if we zoom a little bit more into the charts, let me go into the charts, into the 4 hour to show you what's been going on. So where I can what I can possibly foresee with Bitcoin is that, like I said, have a move up from here, create this W pattern, which would then give us an implied target for Bitcoin to $47,000. Let me just take off my magnets. So when you have a W form pattern like so, you basically bring it to the neckline, and you can see that this would take us to 47,300 or thereabouts. Now, depending on where we get a couple of weeks, could be a little bit higher, could be a little bit lower, but that would be an implied target. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be looking at this, and so therefore it's going to be interesting, or what I will be doing is I'll be selling some of my crypto, and when I say crypto, basically the whole bag, because if you think about when Bitcoin goes up, the whole market goes up. When Bitcoin goes down, we've seen the altcoins suffer over the last couple of weeks as Bitcoin has sort of been trending down and sideways. So if we do get back up to this sort of $44,800 level, I'll probably be taking a lot of my profits here because we are waiting for a major pullback, something around a 20 to 30% pullback. So let me dive into the BLX chart, which is the longest running chart for Bitcoin. And what I've done before you guys jumped on is I've marked out a couple of significant areas. The vertical red bars are the last time that we had Bitcoin halving. So you can see we had the last halving around 11th of May 2020. The one before that was the 4th of July 2026, and the one before that, late November 2012. Now, the vertical white lines are the major pullbacks before and after the halving has occurred. Now, apart from this first crypto cycle right here, not counting obviously this run up here, but these white lines, we had two major pullbacks before the halving and then two major pullbacks after the halving. For the next bull market, we had 2, 4, 6, 7 major pullbacks on the weekly time frame, followed by 5 major pullbacks post-halving. Then in the 2020 bull market, we had 5 major pullbacks before the halving in May 2020, followed by 2, 4, 6 major pullbacks, apart from the all-time high here, or we could say 5 major pullbacks, until we deemed that we were in a bear market. Now, if we look to present time, so far, Bitcoin has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major pullbacks. This probably being the 6th and last before the bull market, or we're about to have our 6th pullback. Therefore, this pullback that we are having right now, or if we do have high and we finally do get a bit more of a major pullback, is going to be probably the best last buying opportunity before we hit the halving. Post-halving, we're probably going to get a handful of pullbacks. This is why this last pullback, be it the one we are on now, or maybe if we go a little bit higher and have a later one, this is going to be my biggest, or this will be my major buy the dip opportunity. The last time I believe that we're going to get cheap Bitcoin and cheap altcoins before we start seeing things explode in 2024. So if you're someone like me that likes to buy the dip, so far over the last week or so, we've already had a 10% dip. 10% is kind of like my minimum buy the dip opportunity. Anything over 10%, I start dollar cost averaging into. I do know that there is a possibility of us going to, 20%. 20% would take us down to 35,800, and even 30% would take us all the way back down to the highs that I did mention before, around about 31,200, which what I believe would be the best opportunity if we get blessed for buying Bitcoin at the most cheapest price before we start seeing those huge gains next year. So if you're someone that's been sitting on the sideline, I think that this has given you enough information today that you should start, putting your emotions aside. When you start feeling fearful, which all retail investors do, start buying when you are fearful. And when you start feeling greedy and you want to FOMO in, this is the time where you should be starting to sell. This is just obviously what a smart investor would do. A lot of the people tend to do the reverse. Once they start seeing the market drop, they'll tend to sell into the drop, and then they'll buy into pumps. And this reduces your return on investment, but also creates an opportunity cost. An opportunity cost is where basically if you were to sell Bitcoin at current price, 41,300, what is it right now? $41,000, let's say. If you were to sell your Bitcoin right now at $41,000 and you see Bitcoin pump up to $42,000 and you buy back in, the amount of Bitcoin that you sold it for at $41,000 is going to be less than what you can buy back in at $42,000 because the price has gone up. This is what's called opportunity cost. This is why doing any form of trading as a retail investor should be a massive no-no, because of the opportunity cost that you are going to be costing yourself when we're in the massive exponential bull market. This right here, this is an exponential bull market. We have not even yet started the exponential bull market for Bitcoin. It does look like we are close to starting something similar, but we know that with the Bitcoin halving coming up, we are more than likely going to get a decent pullback at some point in time, giving people that have already missed this huge run up here and this huge run up here the opportunity to get into the market. We need liquidity for the market to continue moving up. And if we move up in a straight line, this does not give large money or big money the opportunity to join in on the party to push us even further. So with that being said, we do need the prices to come back down to give those slow individuals that were just not smart enough to buy at $15,000, thinking that they were going to get cheaper Bitcoin at $12,000. I personally thought Bitcoin was going to go down to about $12,000, but I was dollar cost averaging as soon as we broke this horizontal line, around about 29,000. I was expecting Bitcoin to do exactly what it did in previous bull markets and basically hold the previous all-time high. Let's go to the back to the BLX chart and hold the previous all-time highs of 20K, but it didn't do that. Okay, did not do that. Did dip below to about 15,000, and then we obviously moved up from there. So right now, I think that we all know that Bitcoin is more than likely going to exceed its previous bull market all-time high of $67,000. So even if you bought at this price point, it's not a bad investment as long as you have diamond hands. But why not, obviously, hopefully have a little bit of dry powder on the side so you can catch any major dip from where we are. We've already had a 10% dip. I'm expecting a 20 to 30% dip in the not too distant future. And that's going to be my last huge buy the dip opportunity. From there, I'm probably going to be just holding and waiting for that 2024 bull market. So guys, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. And I'll see you guys next Monday for the next Bitcoin TA video. Bye for now.